The movie begins with a team of U.S. Navy SEALs who must save a CIA agent taken by the Syrian military. But when they free the agent, their leader, John Kelly, realizes they're actually in Russia, not Syria. Understanding their mistake, they decide to leave immediately. However, as they attempt to leave, they face RPG fire from enemy forces. This attack causes a hole in the floor, leading the team to fall to the ground below. Kelly swiftly launches a counterattack, while Robert, a CIA operative on the mission, focuses on rescuing the hostage. After defeating the enemy soldiers, Kelly and his remaining team members, along with Robert and the rescued hostages, rush to the waiting helicopter. Kelly expresses his frustration, believing Robert had misled them into attacking the Russian army base. However, Robert denies any knowledge of this plan, insisting he never intended to deceive them. 3 months later, Kelly retired from the military and focused on spending time with his family. His wife Pam was pregnant with their first child. While visiting a friend, Kelly talked about his new job as a security guard, sharing stories of his recent experiences. Meanwhile, another one of Kelly's friends, who had been part of a hostage rescue mission in Syria, was enjoying a quiet moment with his small family. Tragically, while he was taking out the trash, he was hit by a speeding vehicle and died in front of his daughter, who witnessed the horrifying event. Following this, Kelly's other friends who had accompanied him on the secret mission in Syria were targeted and killed one by a mysterious group of attackers. One night, Kelly and his wife were getting ready for bed in their upstairs bedroom. However, Kelly couldn't sleep, so he went downstairs for a snack and some music. Suddenly, the power in their house went out and intruders broke in, heading towards the bedroom where Pam was sleeping. Upon hearing noise from upstairs, Kelly grabbed his gun and confronted the intruders. He shot at a dark figure, managing to take down several attackers, but getting seriously injured himself. Luckily, one attacker ran out of bullets before causing more harm to Kelly and escaped. The next day, Kelly was hospitalized with a severe injury. After the incident, a crucial meeting occurred between CIA officials and the SEALs. Robert recounted the events of the hostage rescue led by Kelly's team. They decided to launch an investigation into the matter. In the hospital, Kelly woke up to devastating news. His wife and unborn child had tragically died. Distraught, he begged Karen, his former SEAL boss, to reveal the identities of those who had attacked him. However, Karen explained that the case was under investigation, and she didn't know who the attackers were. A few days later, Karen received an invitation to a confidential meeting in Washington, D.C. with Robert and Secretary of Defense Thomas Clay. During the meeting, Robert disclosed that the people responsible for Kelly's wife's death were Russian soldiers associated with the SB, Federal Security Service of the Russian Federation. They retaliated for the attack by Kelly's team on the FSB headquarters in Aleppo, Syria. To complicate matters, the United States decided to close the case to prevent tensions with Russia from escalating. Karen struggled to accept this decision. As time went by, Kelly continued his physical rehabilitation through training sessions. One day, Karen informed him that Russian soldiers were responsible for the attack, even though the case had been closed. Worried about Kelly's safety, Karen gave him files and photos suggesting a passport forger named Andrew had helped the Russian army infiltrate America. It seemed likely Andrew knew who orchestrated the attack. That evening, after a training session, Kelly returned home and drowned his emotions in alcohol. He then went to Andrew's office, where he confronted 2 of Andrew's bodyguards by pretending to be drunk and unsteady. When he saw Andrew getting into his car, Kelly quickly returned to his own vehicle, following Andrew's car and causing a collision that trapped Andrew's vehicle between a truck and a sedan, preventing his escape. Afterward, Kelly set fire to Andrew's car before breaking through the flames to reach him. Holding him at gunpoint, he demanded to know who was responsible for the attack that killed his wife. Despite Andrew's initial reluctance, Kelly shot him in the leg to force him to talk. Eventually, Andrew revealed a name: Viktor Raikov. The attack on Andrew increased tensions between the United States and Russia, leading political experts to speculate that it might spark a new Cold War. One day, Karen visits Kelly in prison after his altercation with Andrew. There, Kelly expresses his determination to track down the assassin, no matter where he might be. Shortly after returning to his cell, Kelly is forcefully taken away by several prison guards. Refusing to cooperate, he fights them hand-to-hand, eventually gaining the upper hand by taking one of the guards hostage. The guards relent and leave the cell one by one. Later, a messenger sent by Clay summons Kelly to his office. Upon arrival, Kelly is asked to identify a series of photos and confirm the name he got from Andrew. After mentioning Viktor Raikov, Robert reveals that Raikov is a former Spetsnaz officer turned Russian spy, long sought after by the CIA. Despite their efforts, Raikov has evaded capture. According to CIA intelligence, Raikov is currently hiding in Murmansk, Russia. Knowing that his wife's killer is still free, Kelly offers to help Viktor capture the CIA. Clay, initially hesitant, eventually agrees, but he insists that Kelly must return to prison once the mission is over. Kelly, Karen, and the CIA team get ready to leave on a plane. As they approach Russian airspace, Kelly prepares to parachute out of the aircraft. However, Russian fighter jets attack their plane, causing the wings to catch fire. The plane quickly descends and crashes into the Barents Sea, flooding the cabin with water. Despite the chaos, Kelly and the team manage to escape and board a Soviet boat, heading straight for the Russian border. At a safe house, Kelly suggests that the plane attack might benefit them because the Russians would assume they died. However, he starts to suspect Robert of betrayal since he didn't join them. Kelly fears the Russians might know about their presence, raising doubts about Robert's loyalty. Eventually, Kelly meets Robert in Murmansk, where he seems to be collaborating with Russians. Furious, Kelly confronts Robert, accusing him of treason for working with the Russians. However, Robert defends himself, explaining that he came to Murmansk after hearing about the plane attack, assuming Kelly and the team were dead. He planned to kill Viktor, knowing his location in the city. Convinced by Robert's assurances of loyalty, Kelly reconciles with him. Later that evening, Kelly, Karen, and their team launch an attack on Viktor's hideout, only to find Viktor waiting for them. Surprisingly, Viktor is wearing a suicide vest and is sitting with a bomb trigger in hand. He accuses Kelly and his team of being pawns manipulated by America to provoke war with Russia, claiming they will be sacrificed for the king's agenda. Without hesitation, Viktor sets off the bomb, causing a massive explosion that destroys the room. Miraculously, Kelly and his team members survive the blast, but their safety is short-lived as a sniper targets them, resulting in the death of one team member and 2 Russian policemen outside. Forced to seek refuge in the dark ruins of Viktor's apartment, they come under relentless sniper fire. Determined to eliminate the threat, Kelly sneaks through a hole in the wall, identifying the sniper's position. Eventually, they manage to overcome the sniper. However, the Russian police and soldiers have surrounded the apartment building, trapping Kelly and his team. Kelly decides that his team should escape through the back alley while he confronts the police and soldiers. He throws grenades at a parked car to create a distraction, allowing Karen and her squad to flee successfully. The intense gunfight between Kelly and the Russian forces continues, with Kelly eventually resorting to throwing a bomb from the ground floor, causing heavy casualties among the soldiers. Finally, Kelly breaks free from the encirclement of the Russian army by disguising himself in a Russian army uniform and covering his face with a tear gas mask. He staggers to a nearby car, where he quickly flees to rendezvous with his team. The following day, despite his injuries, Kelly struggled to remain conscious as he drove, but thankfully, he made it to the meeting point where his team had gathered. They, along with Robert, hastily left Russia by ship. Reflecting on Viktor's words about being manipulated by higher powers, Robert suggests that Kelly fake his own death to uncover the mastermind behind these events. In Washington, Kelly kidnaps Clay from a restaurant restroom and interrogates him, threatening to harm his family in retaliation for the suffering he endured. Clay reveals the true motive behind sending Kelly on the mission: America's desire to start a war with Russia to boost the economy and assert dominance globally. Clay plans to gain public support by portraying Russia as a common enemy. Kelly and his team were merely tools used as bait in this political maneuver. All these disclosures intensified Kelly's anger further. He drove his car into the Potomac River with Clay still inside, resulting in his drowning. Several days later, Clay's demise was officially labeled as suicide, and he was honored with a military funeral. Meanwhile, Kelly, believed to have perished during his journey to Russia, was laid to rest beside his wife's grave, thus avoiding his prison term. In the film's ending, Robert provides the voice recording of Kelly's confrontation with Clay to the president. With Karen's help, Kelly starts a fresh life overseas under a new identity, leaving America behind. So the moral of the story is, if you're going to fake your own death to uncover political conspiracies, make sure you have a solid plan for your new identity and a trustworthy friend like Robert to back you up.